Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, Captain Logan, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, it is the August 2021 Keelhauled Gold Hoarder episode. The community has joined me today to talk about Sea of Thieves, how they're feeling about things. Let's get into a little discussion, but before we get into that, I have to let you know about the rest of the patrons. This week, thanks go out to, of course, Bentley Beaver, Chateau Neuf, Chris Horn, Cosmic Johnson, El Jefe Esteban, Gingerbeard, Trickster, Jabaro 5, Casio the Rogue, Lumpy SRQ, Dub Goose, Evil Morpheus, Xbox Mike 29, Munchie, Registella, Russ Bell Kid, TN Professor, Vibrolux, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, Super Pack, Davram TV, Fergatron, Straw Hat Connor, Windsor Chris, and Zam Wow. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. I hope that more of you are able to join me for the community episodes. If we need to work out better times or different days, just let me know. There's always an opportunity for you to join in, as we have plenty of people with lots of good opinions that I want to share with the rest of the community. So if you want to be one of those people, you can always join up at patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast. Join up, give your support. It helps me out a lot, and make sure that the content is continued on, because as I continue on with this, it means the world that I'm actually able to do this for a part-time job at this point. This is how much you guys are helping out, so thank you. Let's get into the discussion with the gold hoarders that did join me this weekend as we talk about different things as far as how they're feeling about the season, events. We talk about a sneak peek on a comic that's coming up next month, and a bunch of other stuff. So let's get into it. All right, welcome everyone to the Keelhauled August community episode. This is with our gold hoarders. If you want to become a gold hoarder, it's real easy to do. Just head over to patreon.com/Keelhauled, join up in the gold hoarder level, and you will gain access to the gold hoarder channel, as well as the special recordings at the end of each month, where I ask the gold hoarders to come on to share their thoughts, their opinions, talk about the news, and generally just get a feel for how the Sea of Thieves community, at least from my community, is doing. So I wanted to welcome again this week El Jefe Esteban, Mina Fairy, Registella, and Big Bad Pad. How are you all doing?
Doing great.
I'm good.
Doing good.
Enjoying the weather.
Awesome. I have terrible weather here. It is hazy because of fires and exceptionally warm, and I'm hating every bit of it, but that's okay. I can live with that. Hopefully it's a little bit cooler where you guys are at and getting some rain.
Freezing down here, mind you.
That's true. Well, I wanted to bring up a couple things with everyone. We haven't heard very much about the Sea of Thieves podcast. It's something that they brought in very shortly and subsequently have only done 2 episodes with. I had a feeling that this was something that they were going to do on the regular. They have not done anything regular, and I think I understand why now. Just the other day, we got the official announcement. This is something they've been testing for a bit. They have the official Sea of Thieves television. Now, if you're not familiar, this is something where you can head over to twitch.com/Sea of Thieves. And during the week, you can watch different community members do streams on the Sea of Thieves channel, as well as their own, to kind of showcase some of the community's content. This is something that I do with my podcast. This is something I told them I would do for them if they wanted to hire for me, where I try to get on community members, either actual content creators or just community members in general, to talk about the state of the game, to showcase their content and give people an idea of where they can actually find stuff. So just kind of off the cuff, did anyone have any feelings about this when they first saw the announcement, or is this something you've been checking into?
I saw it and thought that they just kind of maybe more of a fleshed out version of kind of what they've already been doing with kind of tapping in with some of the other content creators. So I mean, it's good for the folks who are out there. I think it will give people a better better reach with the community at large. So I think it's an overall good idea.
Yeah, it's interesting. How did you guys used to watch the weekly streams when those were going live back in what was it, 2018, 2019?
Unfortunately, I couldn't because British Standard Time and all that stuff, and Australian Standard Time doesn't really work out for those who live in Australia. So yeah, it's pretty annoying that you have to wake up I mean, if you want to, then you kind of have to. But yeah, it's just not worth it from people in Australia. But I did
You,
used to watch like one CFE's YouTuber who used to do like the CFE's developer stream recap videos, like just in case there might be like little hints or see a teases. But other than that, not really. But like I could always watch the VODs later on.
yeah, I was going to ask if you just ended up waking up or when you found time just jumping onto the VOD to watch those instead.
That's just way too early for me, even by, it's on a Wednesday and I usually have to get up real early on a Wednesday. It's even earlier on a Wednesday for me back then. So not worth it for me, unfortunately. But for everybody else it's fine. But again, Australian times is the cursed times for things
Yeah.
like, I don't know, Gamescom.
I was just thinking, similar to the way that we watch Netflix. Netflix isn't done live. We usually just go back and watch it whenever we watch it. I figured I'm subject to this as well too. I rarely ever go back to watch Twitch VODs. So when someone streams it, I either watch it or I don't, but I rarely ever go back just to watch the video of the past stream and stuff, because it kind of misses something when you can't actually interact with the actual content creator. An interesting thing that we'll watch on demand YouTube videos whenever we want, but we won't go back to watch Twitch VODs.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyone watch the Twitch VODs? I'm just curious.
I used to watch the weekly dev streams every week till they stopped.
Yeah, I used to watch the weekly streams fairly regularly.
Was it the devs that brought you to it, or was it the content creators? Because this is one of those things where this is solely about the creators themselves.
For me, it was kind of a mixture of both. Like, I was always interested to see what the devs had to say about, different things or whatever.
Yeah, it was the devs for me. I think there was one or two that the people that they had on, I wasn't interested in seeing, so I didn't watch those ones. But for the most part, it was the devs. Sometimes it was the people they had on as well, just to see how they interacted with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I also like the fact that during one stream, one developer decided to accidentally leak fire before it was actually revealed. That was like, oh my god, they maybe that's why they don't want to do developer streams anymore, because they don't want any slippery tongues or whatever. You guys remember that?
Yeah, I do. It was it's interesting to see, because with the Sea of Thieves television, this is kind of that situation where they are trying to showcase the content creators, but I think a lot of the draw for the weekly streams, at least, was trying to get a beat on where the devs were at when they were actually playing the game and get their opinions and see if they could run into the same issues that I think a lot of us run into, to kind of maybe even validate some of the requests that we have as far as like bug fixes and stuff like that. At least that was always kind of my perspective. I always like kind of understand, how familiar with the game are the devs who are showcasing it, because it was always one of those moments. It's like, most of us know how to play the game. We tend to have a lot of bug requests and a lot of things that we'd like to see brought to the game, and trying to get a better idea of if that's something that they share as well too. Kind of got us a little bit towards that path. We kind of found out a little bit about that when we did see those weekly streams. With the Sea of Thieves television, it'll be an interesting situation to see if this will kick off. I imagine, given the ease of the nature of it, all they have to do is just give certain streamers access to that channel, and once those streamers are trusted and they can make sure that they're being showcased, I don't even know if they need to. They could just actually host them for those times. It seems like that's kind of the situation where they're just looking to get content that isn't being produced by them themselves. It's just something that they're able to allow other content creators to do. Pad, did you have any questions?
Nope, nothing from me. No.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that they're doing stuff like this. It's interesting to see how they are going to be taking some of the content creators out there to showcase them. I did see on Twitter that Deadeye Dre was saying that it'd be nice if we got writers on there, similar to like my situation, where I would love to break down a Sea of Thieves episode and how I record a podcast for people that are interested just for Sea of Thieves. So that way it was kind of, we're getting a broader scope of the content creators out there, because we do have a few people who are craftsmen. We also have a couple people who are artists. And then, of course, streamers as usual who are jumping on to kind of showcase the game or the community itself. It'd be nice to kind of round that out. If this is going to be a medium where people are just coming for the general broad scope of content, it'd be nice to kind of showcase some of that stuff. Outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot of news that we've really jumped into. I know that we kind of got the Twitch drops, and Mina decided that she would head this up. I think this set, Mina, you've been kind of notifying people in the Discord about the Twitch drops. Thank you for that. And Pad, you've kind of stepped back from that. Definitely kind of curious. Have you guys been enjoying this set of Twitch drops? I think this is like the last few pieces that we need, right?
Yeah, I really like this particular set.
The ship set is awesome. I just love it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So have you guys had any problems getting these pieces, or they've been pretty easy to remember to pick up?
No, it's been nice and easy. And one thing that I was really happy to see was that with this lot of Twitch drops, watching on my Xbox has counted towards earning the drop. For the last 3 or 4 Twitch drops, that hasn't been the case. You could only earn them by watching either on a PC or on your mobile phone for some reason. It worked in the past and then it stopped working. And now I'm glad it's working again.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, these are kicking off. It started on Friday the 27th. It's going till Monday the 30th. So make sure that you're sticking with it and watching a partner on Twitch. The directory on Sea of Thieves has a list of all the different ones. If not, you can always go to a Sea of Thieves stream that says Twitch in the title, and it'll pop up with a little dialog box. Just a reminder too, you have to claim those. You can't just watch and get it. You do have to go into your drops section on Twitch and claim those. As far as I know, you do have a certain amount of time that those are available for, but you do need to make sure that you actually claim those so that it will apply to your Sea of Thieves account. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of news. The actual sale for the Emporium is going live. And those are out there if you wanted to take a look. I saw Caleb did mention that he wished that there was a sale section in the Emporium to kind of break out the different items that are on sale. I agree. That is something that we have had in the past. I think it's something that we really should be able to kind of see or have more visibility on. Was there anything that you guys were planning on picking up, or were you going to pass on this one?
I think I'll pass on this one. Nothing interesting so far for me. I mean, I already got the Black Pearl, so I'm good.
Yeah, I typically am the type of person that if I want it, I get it when it comes out. So I have what I want.
Awesome.
I don't have much in the way of funds at the moment, so I will be passing this time round.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I picked up that Halo controller, and now I'm kind of backing off on purchasing stuff for right now. All right. The last thing that I think we wanted to jump into before we get a couple questions from People's Republic was Regis, you found on another Discord that there is a Sea of Thieves #3 Champion of the Souls comic coming out. This is the Comixology line that focuses on Pendragon, and this is due out on September 17th. This is another free comic book from Sea of Thieves, and coincidentally enough comes out at the end of season 3. Season 4 should be kicking up around September 17th, and this should coincide, maybe even bring a little bit of a hint about what we can expect, or at least just further the story of Pendragon and what's going on with that. So the bit of blurb that they put with this is, has the Champion of Souls finally met his match? The fearsome skeleton Lord Grey Morrow has seized the seas and sunk the mighty Black Witch. With a lost crew and wrecked ship, Arthur Pendragon is imprisoned and alone in Shipwreck Bay until a secretive stranger brings the fallen champion the rarest treasure of all. Have you guys gotten a chance to take a look at these comics? Has anyone been following these, or have I been living in these books far too much?
Oh, I read
have.
through the first one. I've not sat down and read the second one yet.
Well, I've read, like, the ones about the DeMarco twins, the origins of the trade companies, mainly the Merchant Alliance and the Order of Souls, when the Merchant Alliance one was leaked. And learning about Pendragon is really interesting. Like, like his heritage from, like, the mythical King Arthur, his desire for adventure, and actually tying into the one of the earliest Rare games, which was Black Witch, I presume. And yeah, how it ties into Sea of Thieves, and yeah, it gives like a little backstory, like how did Pendragon became the champion of souls, and how did the Black Witch end up being on Shipwreck Bay, and how it got there. To be honest, yeah, it's interesting. Wonder what's gonna happen in the well, we already know how he got out thanks to a certain Stitcher backstabber that we all know. And but it's nice to give like a visual context of like how it happened and what kind of a bargaining thing that Stitcher Jim may have done to that. Not sure, but just some context would be nice for like how that happened.
Yeah. We kind of have an idea, thanks to the journals, a little bit about what Pendragon's life was like prior to becoming a person that we venture with. If Pendragon continues to be a little more of a presence in the comic books, does anyone feel like this is something kind of leading towards maybe what season 4 will lie in store? Or do you think that Pendragon's going to come back in season 4 and may actually offer us some tall tales or some story to give us a reason on why he's so important?
Well, he said at the end of the last or the final tall tale that that he had to stay. He still had work to do. So we'll see him again in some capacity at some point. Hopefully sooner before later.
Yeah,
I
especially
I think he's going to have a decent amount of inclusion in what happens next, in the fact that he feels slightly guilty, in the fact that he's the one that released him to start with. Get rid of Shouty McShoutface.
Yeah,
and like you say,
what was I call him, Potato Head?
Yeah, so he's now had 2 comics, or will have had 2 comics. Obviously, like I think I read earlier that it's timed to release the same time as season 4. So yeah, I think there is definitely more to come from him, whether that be in Tall Tales or. But going back to your comment about comics, I was lucky enough to pick up physical copies of the first 2 when I went to Exo 19, and thoroughly enjoyed them. And I think that they are a great addition to Sea of Thieves, and the fact that they give you the history and lore behind the people. So I think there is a huge scope for Rare to actually do more for quite a lot of the characters in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love that. There was one thing that I talked to Falcor about over in his Discord channel, and then messaged him afterwards to say that I wanted to talk about this. But talking about Pendragon and Flameheart and Stitcher Jim, I want to toss this idea out to you guys to see if this is something that would be fun or if it's just a little too out there. But I definitely want to talk about the idea of a new tall tale that focuses on Flameheart Sr. and where he is. Because right now we do know, and Pat, I'm glad you brought it up, because you totally reminded me of that line where Pendragon did say that he still had work to do in the Sea of Thieves. And I wanted to think about what he does. He actually kind of mostly focuses on releasing souls from objects, typically people's body parts. And he has the ability to seal or unseal souls from those items. And if we were to try and do something about Flameheart, we would have to be able to trap his soul back into its body. I don't think that we're going to be able to get access to his exhumed body anymore. But I do think that maybe we have someone nearby that has a part of him that we could use to seal his soul with. And I wanted to get your guys' ideas about having a tall tale where we go with Pendragon to hunt down Stitcher Jim, because Stitcher Jim has a bone finger from Flameheart as a necklace around his neck. And if we could get Stitcher Jim and we could get that necklace, we might have a way to trap Flameheart's soul in that finger and get rid of Shouty McShoutface. And if that was something, I would love to get your guys' beat on this. If you think it would be fun, or if it'd be a good idea, or if it's just really like just not even going to bother.
Well, I mean, there's got to be a way to. I mean, there's got to be a way to progress that story of getting rid of Flameheart. And if I would assume that the way to do that is you're going to have to basically seal the evil back into something. And it just makes sense that, I mean, we haven't heard from Stitcher Jim since he got cursed by opening up the chest. So I mean, it all needs to tie back in and tie together at some point. So I would be perfectly okay with that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll be alright with it. Just give me a break from calling Captain Flameheart Mr. Potato Head, because it's literally like a giant skull, like a giant head in the cloud that shouts. And if you watch
Yeah.
Toy Story, then you know how much of a big mouth Mr. Potato Head has. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting because yeah. But then again, you kind of need a bit of a build up, finding Stitcher Jim, learning about his backstory, even though he's a bona fide backstabber, you know. But yeah, so yeah, good idea, Logan.
Mina, Pad, do you guys feel like a good tall tale with us hunting down Stitcher Jim to get away to lock Flameheart away so that we're kind of over and done with the invasion aspect of his reign would be worth it?
I think any progression to getting rid of that redhead out of the sky is okay with me. So yes, I'd say tall tales, I do love them, but after a while you're bored of doing them. First time round is exciting, the second time, yeah, okay.
Well,
They have a shelf life, I think.
Mina, you were going to say?
Yeah, I think some sort of story progression to move Flameheart on and lessen his impact for now. I think we've all had enough of him. I think that would be good. I don't know if it necessarily needs to involve Stitcher Jim and his grizzly necklace, but if that's how they want to do it, then fair enough. It would make sense since that's his finger, isn't it?
Yeah, it always just kind of stuck out in my mind of why. Like, why would he it's such a weird thing for him to take. Like, of all the things that you could take of Flameheart, like not his hat, not like any of his clothing, it's like not his sword. Yeah, he's going to take a finger for reasons. It's just really macabre. But yeah, I would love to see something like that. If it didn't pertain necessarily to the necklace, that was just kind of the MacGuffin that I was thinking would be worth having as a way to trap him back into an object, since we brought him out from the skull, which I still want to talk to Chapman about because that still confuses the heck out of me. But yeah, the one topic that I did want to jump into, there was a bit of news that I did forget about. Did anyone follow Gamescom this week? And were you guys pretty satisfied with stuff as far as like announcements go, or were you just happy about the actual Borderlands chipset that we got?
I didn't see any of it, so I'm clueless.
I saw it just I was like during the whole Discord and podcast of Ava, getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning, an hour earlier than I usually do, at least for things like this. And watching the Xbox thing, seeing if there's anything Sea of Thieves news, and if you are on Discord around that time, and you happen to hear my notification, it's Sea of Thieves news coming to being announced on Gamescom or whatever. And sorry about that. As soon as I saw Sea of Thieves, like, oh, they can announce some or tease something about season 4, but nope, just a ship livery. But it's a very interesting ship livery. Like, I guess we could safely say that third-party ship liveries don't have to be bound to those that are associated with Xbox. Well, at least directly under Xbox. Pretty sure Borderlands is owned by 2K, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Does anyone play Borderlands?
No, but I heard it's getting a live-action movie. Yeah, which is worrying to say the least.
No, I don't play it, but I do think they missed a trick on the naming of it, because Borderlands could have used that in the title rather than just Mayhem.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
No, I've never played Borderlands.
Neither have I.
That's so funny. I have 3, but I've barely touched it at all. I know there's some big fans out there that have probably, I know at least Asylum, he plays it on the regular. There's a few people that I've talked to that were excited about this. I've also seen a couple people refer to this as the McDonald's ship set, and how people can get a hold of that. But yeah, this was interesting. And it's super easy to get to. I think you guys were saying that it was 2 gold hoarder vaults, if that's correct.
We did one of the ship voyages, the ghost ship voyages you get from an Order of Souls. We did one of those and got it.
Just one? You didn't have to do anything else?
Yeah, no, true. Just one.
Did we do a bit of ginger as well, redhead?
It was locked for me for the first few hours. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we finished off somebody else's Flameheart fleet. Then we did then we
Oh,
did.
I thought you meant an Ashen Lord. And then again, I call him Mr. Potato Head, which is not using that now. Called Flameheart Mr. Potato Head, just to annoy the hell out of him.
I kind of like Shouty McShoutface, if I'm being honest.
To
It's
each
just too
their.
much of a mouthful. I just call him Redhead. He's ginger.
Redhead. So you guys did a little bit of that and then a ghost voyage, and that was enough.
Yeah, it was really not a huge amount we had to do at all.
That's so interesting. See, I did a tall tale. I finished up like the final chapter for the Dark Brethren, because that was the furthest along checkpoint that I had at the time, and it gave me 20 favors out of the 100, and I was like, oh, that's not bad. And then everyone's talking about doing one ghost fleet voyage, or like 2 vaults, and I'm like, oh, that's so much easier and so much better. But I just love going through the tall tale, so I know I'm weird about that. So yeah, that's available. Doesn't take a whole lot to really get. You get the full ship set, and I've already heard from Chenzo and crew that they're not too big a fan of the actual cannons. I've heard that there's a weird little iron sight at the very end. It's like a loop that people are seeing if it's possible to actually use as kind of a guide for firing on that. But I'm glad that they're doing it. It is really, really weird that they are bringing in Borderlands, and this event is doing kind of the same things as the Plunder games that we just finished up. And I honestly, I feel bad for Rare, because I know that they had the Plunder games lined up for the Olympics. And I know that they were probably sitting on the Borderlands stuff for a while, and they probably had the Borderlands stuff set and ready to go for whenever, you know, the movie was planning on getting released, closer and closer to that. And I have a feeling that this was one of those things where it's like they had to get this out during Gamescom. They realized that, you know, they were going to put something in. They had to pick you know, something to show off in the ship set, because they usually do ship sets. You know, it's been Gears of War in the past, it's been Halo in the past, it's been Ori and the Blind Forest in the past. We usually get these announcements and stuff. With Borderlands and the favors and stuff, I feel like it was just bad timing, because the email that they sent out had like the same language and stuff like that. It's so funny. Ahoy there, pirates. This is the ad for this episode, and I did want to let you know, if you wanted to avoid these and just get a regular filler, you can head over to the Patreon. There's a special feed just for patrons that get the ad-free version. If you want to keep listening, though, I can't say I blame you, because this week I want to let you know about Loot Crate and getting 15% off of most crates and crate subscriptions when you use the link and code RobotsRadio in the show notes. Also, you can head over to audiobooks.com, get your first 3 audiobooks for free, and that can include any 2 VIP books, or use the affiliate link for Green Man Gaming. If you're a PC gamer or you'd like to save money on games, it's one of the benefits of being a PC gamer. Head over to Green Man Gaming. You can get codes for Steam, Epic, any of the different stores that they have deals going on. They have deals going on all the time, and if you plan on buying there, please consider using our affiliate link. All of that goes straight to me through the network. Thank you all so much for everything that you do to support this podcast. It means the world to me, and I continue to try and improve the quality and the content for you. With that, pirates, let's get back to the show. I personally haven't gotten this yet. I was saving it for the weekend, so till we get to sale, so I could actually jump on and do some stuff like this. But I haven't gotten a chance to check it out. Have you guys gotten a chance to check out like the ship set? Like, how does it look? Does it look good? Is it representative of Borderlands? Like, does it speak to that?
Yeah, it's not a bad set.
Having never played Borderlands, I have no idea how it fits in with that sort of aesthetic. But I like the cannons, actually. And the figurehead's kind of cute. It's another barrel one. I think it's quite cool. The bright colors are nice. I don't know what's with the squiggle on the sails either, what that has to do with Borderlands. But, I mean, it's nice enough, yeah.
Very cool. I think that was it as far as news. Was there any other bit of news that you guys wanted to dive into before questions? All right. So with the questions, thank you, Pad, for bringing these up. Apparently, People's Republic from the Discord server wanted to ask a couple questions. With Double Bucket / Dig now taken out of the game outside of Hit Reg, what game mechanics would you add? and what game mechanics would you take out / adjust? So that's kind of a tough one for me, thinking about what mechanics we have in the game that I would adjust, because if I'm being honest, the one that really kind of sticks out in my mind is loot sprinting. Loot sprinting is something that a lot of PC players have easier access to. It is possible on console. You can do it with a controller, but it is exponentially harder in my case. And as a result, I just kind of leave it as is. It was something that was talked about with Chris Marlowe when he came onto the podcast. They saw it as something that isn't actually, it's not taking away from PvP. It's not hurting the game as far as like a thing like that. But I tend to differ a little bit on that. I tend to think that being able to turn in loot faster because you aren't slowed down by having to actually hold the treasure does kind of increase the amount of gold that a person can earn if they're trying to turn in stuff while they're being chased by another ship. And I do think that that is kind of a tactical advantage. So if I had to pick one to change or take out, I would love for them to work out a way to take out the loot sprinting. Did anyone have any that they wanted to jump on, or did you want to build off of what I said?
One that I would adjust, and something I feel like it's been, I don't know, not right for a long time, is if you get into a sword battle, if you start with a slash and then you go to block does not work. And then by the time it does, it's 3 or 4 slashes in, and at that point, you're pretty much done for. So they really need to do something to, when you hit block, that block actually works.
And the one thing I would like to have, though it's more of a quality of life thing, add some freaking iron sights to the harpoons. Like, that will be very useful for me who, can't shoot jack for anything like that. Not Jack Sparrow, but you get the idea. Try my hardest not to swear there, because it's just so frustrating to try and use the harpoons to get loot from the water and just missing a whole lot because the waves are bouncing and you don't have a targeting thing. It just, please, rare iron sights, at least a little thing on like I did with the Borderlands cannons. That on the harpoons, please.
So just kind of ease of use for that.
Yeah.
Mina, did you have any mechanics that have been bugging you that you want adjusted, or maybe something that you just want completely removed?
I think most of it's already been mentioned. I agree with what's been said in the past about the whole, I think it's Mexi was saying about it, when they put in the digs for how long it takes to dig up a chest. It takes so long on a galleon to dig up a chest because I think, like she said, they were expecting the whole crew to be digging up one chest. And even if they had one dig less, that would make life a little bit easier for me anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about that conversation. Not on purpose, but just, that is definitely something they could definitely take a look at. And I would love for them to try and make it a little easier since we were so used to double digging. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would love for them to take another look at. Can't really think of anything too much. I feel pretty happy with most of where the mechanics in the game are. I feel like rowboats are in a good place right now. I feel like we've kind of gotten used to blunderbombs. If anything, I really want them to take another look at the UI for throwables. Because there's just not a good way to get to throwables in the midst of combat. So I would love it if you could, similar to the way that you have your equipment section and you have the emote section in the vanity chest, I would love to be able to go into my equipment radial and customize those so that if on my first radial I want to have throwables, like my blunder bombs and my fire bombs on that radial, then allow me to adjust that. Allow me to be able to put whatever I want on that first radial, because what may be normal for everyone else could be really, really bad for me. And I want to be able to have, fruit, cannonballs, planks, things like that on there. I don't necessarily need some of that other stuff on that radial. I can take a couple seconds to go to the second radial wheel to get my compass or to get my shovel, things like that. So just kind of similar to the way we set up emotes, let me customize the equipment radial.
Once you have your Halo Elite controller, you can do that.
Oh God, that thing, it's so pretty.
Yeah, no, having the Elite controller makes that a lot easier. But yes, I do agree. I should be able to customize my wheels. I have throwables set on my Elite controller so that I can literally just button and they're there.
Yeah,
Plus
I've got
also,
mine
plus
set.
also,
The radials.
plus
Oh.
also think that they'll also give Rarick a bit of an excuse, kind of, to add in a third radio so they can add like more items later on in the future.
I don't want more items. I really don't. I'm set with what we got. We don't need to be adding more things for me to worry about during combat.
Well, here's one thing I wouldn't mind: more shanties. Like, I don't know, Wellerman, anybody? Even though not appropriate, but then again, they got 1812 or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with more shanties because that's a whole nother bucket of worms that we don't have to get into. But there's definitely a lot of radial digging for kind of stuff like that. Like the last time I had to try and get into shanties, like just on PC, I'm having to crab claw buttons on my PC to be able to open up my radial to get to the second radial to get to the what is it, the oh my god, not the banjo. I'll go with the banjo and then actually get to the shanties to pick those. God, there's got to be a better way. We really need to go back to that UI and start looking at it.
Nice to have a controller.
Yeah, the controller definitely makes it easier for that aspect. I can hotkey a lot of this stuff, but I'm not going to remap my entire keyboard to try and remember 6 or 7 additional hotkeys for stuff.
Yeah.
Pad, you were going to say something?
I was. You saying opening another bucket of worms just to me. I don't think worms should be in barrels. They're diggable from any island you are on. Why would they be in a barrel? I don't want to. I'm looking for cannibals. I'm looking for food, and I'm looking for planks. So I mash my button, and I'm picking up 6 worms. It's like, why would they be in a barrel? I can dig them up. I don't need them. Or give me a bait box.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, sorry, Mina. Go ahead.
A bait bucket would be awesome. That would be really good, like a storage crate. But I know you would, and then you'd eat all the bait that was in it to spew on me.
That was actually the thing that I was wondering is how do you take care of the people that like to use the bait as a tactical thing, like being able to eat a couple worms and then jump aboard a ship, and then while you're fighting someone in a sword fight, puke on them and deal with that. Like that is a viable tactic for people.
They have a shovel. They can also dig up bait.
True, but what if they didn't want to hold on to that bait the whole time that they were playing? What if they wanted to keep their inventory clear of it?
Hence the bait bucket.
Bait doesn't really take up any extra space that would otherwise be used for food or anything, so I don't think that would be an issue.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of things that people would say, oh well, this is the reason why this wouldn't be a good idea, and throw that at you guys to see if we could talk through kind of the process of like what that goes. I honestly think that a bait bucket would be the easiest remedy for that. Trying to keep the fruit and stuff separate from the actual barrels. I am curious to hear, do you guys generally still use the barrels a lot, or have you kind of moved to using the storage crates instead?
I still use the barrels.
Yeah.
For the most part, we use storage crates.
We have one crew member who is adamant that we use 50-50. So if we get sunk, we still have obviously our resources. I'm of the mind that if you've got a storage crate, use that. Once you have 2 storage crates, split out one of the products. So you put your food in one, or you put the planks in it. If you're on a galleon, it's always a good idea to have a storage crate with planks on the bottom deck that you don't have to keep running up and down to repair.
Kind of reminds me of the layout of Alliance ships. One of the Alliance servers, you got your food on top, your cannonballs as well. You have plank crates on the mid and bottom decks, and whatever else you just wherever else.
I'm always interested in seeing like how people change up their play style, because I tend to be pretty lazy about my supplies. Most everything goes into one barrel, and that barrel just has everything. So when I get into it, I just hit the take button a lot, grab everything, and then I'll sort it out later on. But in the heat of the moment, I generally just grab whatever you want. And I don't really run into a situation where I'm eating bait. But I can definitely understand the draw to having those shifted over to something. Do you think that
you troll your crew with kegs I troll my crew, bait.
That's fair. Also, those kegs show up on their own. I don't find them. They just appear and I take advantage.
With or without a skeleton attached to them.
Yeah. No, I don't know why they appear whenever I get on ships with friends. It just happens, but every time it does, I know that, there's a skeleton captain with my name on it, just thanking, doing me a favor.
Hi, Leah, thank you for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure she will. Let's see. So the next question that I wanted to dive into, where does the lore go from here in the immediate season 4 future? Really good question. I'm curious. Right now, Pirates of the Caribbean kind of rounded off. We really have kind of put a little bow on it. It's nice. We have the Dark Brethren that we have to worry about with Duke and Wanda. Davy Jones is taken care of. Teodoma's still kind of just hanging out on the beaches. Flameheart's just kind of in the sky. Stitcher Jim is MIA, and Pendragon and Slate are sticking around for reasons unknown. With the Mer Queen and the Mer King dead, the Siren Kingdom is just kind of without leadership at the moment. Do we think that we're going to see a new monarch rise in place of the current absence of a queen or a king? Like, do you guys think that we're going to get some sort of Siren update soon that's going to kind of address what's going on with that lore? Or do you think that they've even considered like how that monarchy actually works, and if there's a new person that's supposed to come down, or are they just completely free to do whatever they want? They're going to switch to a democracy. They're going to have, voting, and we all have to see, like, we have to put in our ballot for whoever we think the Siren, president is going to be. What do you guys think?
I don't think we know enough about the merfolk, the Sirens rather, to really know what could happen with them not having leaders. There's not much in the way of lore that I've seen that would say here is a siren that would rise up or anything. So I think that at the moment they can just do what they want.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with that same line of thinking. We just don't know enough at this point. My guess is that, as time goes on, we'll get more and more exposure to sirens in different ways, maybe. I don't foresee a whole bunch of lore progression immediately, just because we got all the story in season 3. I don't expect them to do a whole lot in season 4. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, but I don't expect them. Like, they seem to only put out story once a year, so we've got our dump for the year. So I don't really expect anything until next year.
Oh, that's so interesting. Because as soon as we got like the sirens and the ocean crawlers, I was like, oh, cool. They're going to want to take advantage of this. They're going to want to like drag us into the water as much as possible. But you're thinking that they might not dive deeper into that. Like, we may not be going under the water anymore.
Oh, now that we might be able to do, but just in the like progression of the actual story of, all that we've got sitting out there with Flameheart and Flameheart Jr. and Stitcher Jim and just all that kind of stuff. I don't expect any of that anytime soon. Would love to be wrong, but I doubt it'll happen. Now, could something happen with sirens? Absolutely. I mean, that's a new thing, and there's plenty of, like, I feel like they just scratched the surface with that. And if we can, it seems like they did expand the map within season 3, and instead of expanding it out, they went down. So there's tons and tons and tons of opportunity with that. So who knows? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see kind of how they move forward in the short term.
Yeah, just do two things that I like to do: wait and see, or just jump into the insiders, and you know the answer right away.
I don't want to be spoiled that way anymore.
To each their own.
I mean, I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying personally, I'm leaning more towards the seeing what's actually coming and getting the surprise. Getting the surprise of the Pirate's Life was amazing. I'm so glad I didn't get spoiled on that.
My only hope is for season 4 is that if there are tall tales or there is more content coming, and obviously we know that they don't release it all in one go and at the start, because that was my biggest problem with season 3, is they put everything out there straight away, and so after 6 or 7 weeks, like, well, I'm bored, but want something else to do. If they'd actually released it on a week, so that the first 5 weeks of the season had some new content each week. So I hope that if, as and when they obviously release more stuff into season 4, it's not, bang, there you go, everything in the start. Like, that's great, because it means that you go manic for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Trying to do everything, or we will go mad for 2 weeks doing everything and making sure that we do everything with all of our crews. And then I think as we go back to the way we were before, hunting other people down and nicking their stuff, etc.
Yeah, Patty, I agree with that 100%. If I had one complaint about season 3 is I wish they would have staggered the release of all that stuff. I mean, my goodness, you've got multiple months within a season. Stagger out, the content instead of having it all done on the front end, because I'm not gonna lie, these last few weeks have been exceedingly boring, and the events that have come out have been less than stellar.
Yeah, I agree.
So you guys, would you rather have events going on during like a big drop? Because with Pirate's Life, it was just Pirate's Life. And I'm 100% with you as far as like breaking up the tall tales, releasing those on a week to 2 week cadence to really kind of stretch out that content. I know it feels like padding, and a lot of people are going to be frustrated by that. So I sympathize with you there. But as a game perspective, as a living service game, I feel like it works better to kind of piecemeal out this. It's something that Destiny does really well, where they will have a week cadence with their storylines, and each new week progresses the story just a little bit further as you're playing through that season. So every week there's something to dive in that's just a little different. So to my question for you guys, do you want events going on during a content release that would follow a week by week cadence if they release a tall tale? So say that towards the end of this season, we would get like the final tall tale 5. And during that time, Plunder Games was going on. So you had either tall tales to do or Plunder Game to do. And those would be options for you. Or do you like to have the events in Tall Tales kind of separated out throughout the season?
Going back to season 3, because obviously that's what we can work from. That, like you say, you had 5 Tall Tales come out. If they'd have released Tall Tale 1 first week, second week release an event that is then 2 weeks long, so that you have something to do in that first week, and then third week, obviously, you then get a second Tall Tale. You then also still have a week's worth left of event. You have a mixture to do. So you have Tall Tale, and then event, and then you have both. And then you have an event, then you have both. Then you have an event, then you have both. Would have meant that for people who play on a regular basis, they'd have had something different to do each week.
Yeah, I would love that. I think it's a way better way to set up the game to have something unique and interesting going on throughout the entire season. So hopefully they saw that. I think the big thing is that they wanted to get a big influx of players and really capitalize on people jumping in for the first time. As we get into news story that is predominantly, I would say, more Sea of Thieves lore focused, that is going to reward the player base that is invested in the story arcs that we're going on right now. I would love for them to give us stuff that is kind of measured out for the rest of the season, like you're saying, Pad, because I think that's a great way to really just kind of let people have a chance to jump into it at their leisure. Most people generally play on the weekends, and that's when they like to kind of work on their stuff, and having something new to look forward to each week as opposed to binging it all right at the beginning does say something about, how much there is of that zeitgeist of living in that event. It was what was so cool about the Cursed Sales event. Each week we got a different area with a different crew during a different time. And it was all about understanding that and working it out and figuring out how to do that. Not necessarily the best example, but I think a lot of people really enjoy that. With us going into season 4, what kind of events do you guys want to see? Was there an event in the past that you enjoyed and want to see brought into the season 4 season, but with maybe like a different twist on the story aspect of it for it to work?
I'm game for just about anything. Just lay off the go do this thing that we've already done now 10 times. Like, if I never have to sit on a skeleton throne ever again, I'm okay with that. If I never have to light a beacon ever again, I'm okay with that. I mean, how many times do you need to ring the bell at the top of the of the spire in the center of the map? I mean, come on, let's get a little creative.
Yeah, it would be nice to just see something, and I do quote, new and interesting ways to play Sea of Thieves. Just give the new and interesting things a little bit more variety in what to do.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because I'll take anything new. I'll take anything new at this point.
I'm kind of with you guys on that. I love that they're doing the events. I love that the events are a way to do something unique that isn't just going out and hunting down other ships or working on voyages or commendations and stuff. I do think that we have kind of this same kind of cadence of running into the same. Last year it was something similar. It was the summer of Sea of Thieves, and we did very similar tasks. This year it was the Plunder Games, and now Mayhem. I'm hoping that August of 2022, when we're working on whatever event we're doing, it isn't kind of falling back into the same event. Like we kind of expect that Halloween has a set festival theme that will revolve around lights, which I'm totally fine with because it's once a year, and that's kind of what we expect now as a result of that. Christmas. Yeah. Similarly, we generally have a gift of giving. I think last year's was the best implementation that they've done so far. And I think I'm fine with that. I'm okay celebrating the holidays because that's kind of what most other games do. It is a way to kind of bring in cosmetics that are themed appropriately. For this summer, there's not really a whole lot that goes on that you can really celebrate. And as a result, I think that they kind of lean more towards doing these kind of different tasks and stuff. So I would love to see stuff more like the Sea of Thieves shots, where we're going out and doing something that is akin to summer activities, which I know, Regis, is kind of a weird thing considering it's actually winter for you guys as opposed to summer. So I understand that. I understand that's kind of a weird thing to fight against. I would love to see what they come out with season 4. Season 4 is going to also take us into Halloween as well too. So it'll be the next 3 months. So September, October, and November. At that point, we should be getting one of the events. We can probably anticipate they'll probably do another festival event for Halloween. I hope that they do the thing that I want companies to do with those events and actually kick it off at the beginning of October and let us fall into the end of it with Halloween. It's so many companies go into the Halloween event and do it right at Halloween or like the week prior. And I'm like, that's cool for people that don't have kids and don't have to worry about walking their kids around to get treats and stuff like that. Now, granted, I know we're in, coconut fever is still an issue here. So I know that a lot of people probably aren't going to be taking their kids out to do this, but in a world where that is not a problem, most people probably want to spend that time carving pumpkins, celebrating the holidays, watching scary movies, spending time with their family and stuff like that. We don't want to have to be on Halloween scrambling to get events done. So please celebrate the whole month, kick it off at the beginning of October, and let us enjoy that part of the season. That being said, I would love to see what's coming prior to that at the beginning of season 4 in the middle of September. Give us a couple of weeks to jump on something that's fresh for the season, and then kick it off with the festival stuff in October, and then back to whatever we're planning on doing, Thanksgiving kind of thing, if you want to do that for November. What do you guys think? Good, bad, adjustments?
Yeah, I like that general idea of thinking because it's so weird. It seems like they would start the Halloween thing right around Halloween, and then you're doing that all the way up until Christmas, just about. And I think they need to start it earlier instead of later, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. Well, that kind of kicks off our hour for this episode. Was there anything that you guys had pressing that you wanted to toss into the episode for changes, for things that you want to see to the game, or issues that you're running into that you wanted to let the devs know about?
They need to fix the mermaid puff of smoke whenever you try to board another ship. I would assume with the 10 gig update that just came out that would have been a fix, but it's been there all season long, and the mermaids majorly give you away and other crews away when they're out in the water. That needs to be fixed for sure.
And you're talking about for those that may not be aware, you're talking about the bug where other crews can see the plume of smoke from a mermaid that is for you.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that as well. It's given away a couple people who were swimming towards the ship that I was on at one point, and I was like, oh, that's a bug. Interesting. Well, good to know that they're coming.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Pad, did you have something that you wanted to jump into?
Yeah, they also need to fix the shark coming onto the beaches. Whilst they said they had fixed it, no, they haven't. I swear to God, I never swum so fast in my life up a beach.
I don't know why I find it so funny you running away from a shark on the beach. Oh,
Ship sharks, I understand, but no, not land sharks.
No land sharks, please. We already have enough of ocean crawlers. We don't need another new enemy on the land.
God, that just cracks me up. I'm sorry. I kind of want them to keep it just because of that. Yeah. All right. So unless anyone else has anything else they want to dive into, I don't want to cut it off before everyone gets an opportunity. Mina, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Regis, anything?
No, nothing really.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys jumping in. I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk. I love chatting with you guys about this kind of stuff and getting your beat on things, because it's always a different perspective, because you guys have way more experience on the seas than I get to nowadays. So I love getting to see where you're at with things and what you want changed, things like that. Thank you again to People's Republic for dropping in some questions for the discussion. Sorry we didn't get to the last one, but that might be a good question for everyone to give me some answers for in next episode. So next episode, let me know what you guys think. What additional pirate curses or chest curses would you like to see? So that's the homework for this week. I would love to get some feedback on that. And pirates, thank you. Hefe, Mina, Regis, Pad, thank you all for joining me. If you guys have anything that you want to share, let me know, and I will put it in the show notes. Other than that, I think that's going to do it. So thanks, pirates. I hope you guys all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you all next week.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
My name is Brian Burton. It's been 26 years since the bombs fell. And since I've left the vault, I've been trying to rebuild. This isn't the Appalachia that I remember. There's so much more to everything going on. And I promise to find the answer. So if you're out there, if you're listening, just hone in on these coordinates. Remember, there's a place for you at the end. Omega.
The Omega Broadcast Fallout Story is available on iTunes, Spotify, and many great podcasting sources.
Hey Simone,
Yes, Chad.
what would you say is your favorite bad movie?
Oh, where would I start? But probably at zombie strippers.
Oh yeah, which we've actually done on our podcast, Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. This is a podcast where we take some of the worst movies ever created, and even some of those movies that you might have thought were brilliant, but still got a bad critic score, and we say nice things about them, because you know what? Someone put the effort in, so we're gonna be there fighting in their corner.
Absolutely, Chad. Even if the movie was total garbage, there are some makeup artists that gave it their all, and we're here to recognize that.
Exactly. And with really fun themes every week, such as National Treasure Week, Weddings Week, movies with Jeremy Irons and dragons in them. How could you go wrong by joining us every Tuesday and Thursday for some optimism in your life?
And like we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Goodbye!
Bye!